The Timberwolves walked into Denver and have beaten the Nuggets twice in their second-round series, and it feels like the Nuggets are falling apart. You got players, namely Jamal Murray, throwing things onto the court towards the end of this game.
It was like a heating pad or something?
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen this by now, but he threw something onto the court because he was angry at the refs or something. And has there been any has the league weighed in on that yet, Jimmy, today?
No, there seems to be some rumors that he's probably going to get suspended maybe for the next game, but nothing official just yet.
Okay. They're down 2-0. They're going to Minnesota. They got walloped last night, and Gobert sat out. Unlike Carlo, he stayed with the birth of his kid and didn't go to the game, and they
got stomped.
They still beat him by like 30 in Denver.
Down 1-0, down 0-1 in the series, playing game 2 at home, they got stomped.
Now they're going back to Minnesota, and it's possible Denver's going to be without Jamal Murray because he threw that stupid heating pad onto the floor. Now, I don't care about Minnesota or Denver, really. I care about, we discussed the Celtics going to the finals, and if they face Denver, how do they match up? You had the field versus the Celtics, Mazz. A lot of people would look at it and say, okay, it all gets real when they face Denver. And I would look at the Celtics and say, I think they should win the championship this year. But if they get Denver in the finals, and it turns out Denver is an all-time team, and Denver's gonna, is on the beginning of a run where they're going to rack up 3-4 championships or something like that, and Jokic is the new Tim Duncan, and they run into that, I would come out of it and go, I get it. It's possible Denver's better than you. Maybe it's their time. That thing. Now, not only, Mazz, is Giannis and the Bucks a non-factor. Now, and not only is, the Warriors done, the Lakers done, the Suns not a factor. Now the Celtics can get to the championship without having to face,
Anybody?
Like any of the best players in the league?
Correct.
Now, I'm saying, I'm going to leave, when I say the best players in the league, I'm talking about now. They will not have had to have faced Giannis. They will not have had to have faced Embiid. If they get the Knicks, they will not even have had to have faced their best or second best player in Randall. They're not going to have to face Durant, LeBron, Steph Curry.
Jimmy Butler got hurt.
They didn't have to face Jimmy Butler. They're not going to face Jokic. They better win the championship now.
Yes.
Unless...
go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead first, Mazz.
It's their worst nightmare, if you ask me.
Now it's like they have to win.
They have to win is right. Because after all that has happened here over the last 7 years with Tatum and Brown, and you're going to chalk it up to their inexperience and their development that this is when it happens, and you're going to lose to Anthony Edwards, who's in his fourth season? Fourth season. You can't lose.
You can't lose.
Yeah,
you can't lose in Minnesota. You can't lose in Minnesota.
Murray, do you understand the repercussions of it?
Without question. I'm with you on that.
All of a sudden it becomes, wait a minute.
You're next in line.
Right, exactly right.
All of a sudden they just jumped you?
Right. And all of a sudden it becomes, so it wasn't the maturity of the players? Because how did that guy just win it in 4 years and you can't win it in 6 or 7?
Thank you.
The way this thing plays out, it's the Celtics' time. They absolutely positively have to win it. But what I was going to say was maybe we're all sleeping on this Minnesota team. They are demoralizing and dismantling this Denver team.
No one's sleeping on it because we all see it. But Mazz is right. It's not their time. It's your time.
Correct.
No, I know.
Yeah, it's a bad sign. If they pass you, you're screwed.
I mean, it sounds like we're already ripping the Celtics for losing to the Timberwolves, which they haven't done. So
Good job.
Thank you.
Well, we're ahead of the curve.
Way ahead.
But again, unless it's
6 weeks ahead.
Unless Anthony Edwards is just that dude. And it doesn't matter what the pecking order is and what the timing is. Now it's my time. Because the dude's playing like that.
Here's my next question. Who would you rather have? Anthony Edwards or Jayson Tatum?
Ant-Man.
Edwards.
Really?
Yeah.
Ant-Man.
Yeah. And I get the argument. Well, Tatum's already been to a finals. How many Eastern Conferences has he gone to? There's a softness I see with him. He's not my favorite player on the team. There's something missing with him. Edwards a badass. I would take Anthony Edwards.
So
he is a bad human.
Anthony Edwards got Karl Anthony Towns to play hard.
Yeah, right. Good point.
That's a big check mark in the Anthony Edwards category.
That's a great point, Jimmy.
He is a bad human being.
Jimmy Butler. with some questionable tactics, tried to get Karl Anthony Towns to play hard, and it didn't work. Anthony Edwards has done that.
This kid is tremendous.
Okay, he's also 6'4".
Correct.
So he's a little,
he's a little undersized.
Tatum was 6'9" and plays like 6'11", I think, or he's he's 6'8", but I feel like he plays like Durant. Like I think he's got that length. So Tatum, I would much rather have Tatum's size and length. Tatum's also a little bit better of a shooter, don't you think?
Yeah, this kid's still learning it, but yeah.
I mean, statistically, Edwards is a 35% shooter from three career. Tatum is
no, you're right.
37.5.
Yeah,
but Edwards came into the league and they weren't sure if he was going to be able to shoot the three as the number 1 overall draft pick, and he worked to get to 35%, 36%.
So
that number's going to go up.
Well, so I think Tatum, and again, just eyeballing it and just seeing it, I think Tatum is a more fluid athlete. He's a more coordinated athlete. I think Anthony Edwards is more raw power. More aggressive, certainly, but he's smaller. Tatum is bigger and shoots a little better.
Yes. You're right. That part's right. Here's what I would tell you. I look at them, and I say Edwards is 6'4", but plays bigger. Tatum is 6'9", and plays a little smaller. Not a lot, but a little.
Who'd you rather be the next 5 years, the Celtics or the Timberwolves?
Well, I thought you were going to say, who would I rather be, Anthony Edwards or Jayson Tatum? In which case, I would say Anthony Edwards. The Celtics have the better team.
Who would you rather be, the Celtics behind Jayson Tatum going forward or the Timberwolves behind Anthony Edwards going forward?
Minnesota.
I think it's an important point here is that Anthony Edwards got dropped into a bad situation, brought everybody up. Tatum needed Holiday and Porzingis to come in and help him get over the hump.
Yeah, I think I want to be Minnesota because if I'm going to go with the best player, it is about the best player in that league.
I mean,
this kid's a badass.
They're comparing this kid to Jordan.
He's a badass.
They're starting to do that.
I know, it's a little nuts.
Stupid.
It is. It's nuts, but I get it.
But they're doing it because of his play style.
Correct.
And they've never done that with Tatum. Because his play style is soft.
Carmelo Anthony.
This kid is tenacious. He is freaking tenacious. He's an animal on defense. He's a bull on the offensive end and goes to the basket. And it's just, again, he plays bigger than 6'4".
This is the other thing about Anthony Davis. He's a defensive first player. Minnesota
Edwards
is a defensive first team. The Celtics are let's shoot threes and go from there.
Is Anthony Edwards a better defender?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Clearly,
Yes.
Oh, I think he's like an all-defensive
If
candidate.
Tatum applied himself more defensively, he would be a first-team all-defensive player, but they choose not to do that.
Jimmy, you got Dakota there? Give me a pie. Give me a Raptor. Give me who's got a higher
So
one
Tatum's
of those numbers?
pie
I'm
is
just curious.
15.5, which is 25th in the NBA.
Hold on.
Anthony
Hold
Edwards'
on.
pie is 14.5, which is 35th in the NBA.
I don't have your headset on, so I want to just slow down there.
Sorry.
Tatum is what?
He's 25th in the league in the NBA at 15.5.
Pie. And what's Edwards' pie?
It's 35th in the NBA, and it's 14.5.
Why does Anthony Edwards have such a low pie?
Yeah, worst pie.
My guess is that, again, the impact efficiency also rates you as facilitating other people, all that stuff. I don't know if he's a great facilitator. He's still more of a scorer.
5 assists a game. Needs to be more.
Handles the ball a lot. Handles the ball a lot. Like, he's a guy that should, to me, at his peak, should get up to 7 or 8. Maybe he doesn't have some of the weapons around him. What are his rebounds?
His rebounds, Mazz, are 5 a game.
Should be higher.
At 6'4".
Yes, he's tough, though. He's strong. He can jump through the gym. It should be higher. So, and his shooting percentages should be higher, too.
He's obviously a wing, but is he technically a 2?
Yes.
A 2 guard?
He's kind of a 1.5, but yeah.
Oh, so he's a ball handler.
He does handle the ball some. He can get to the basket. He's absurdly quick and strong. And again, he can jump out of the freaking arena.
We've seen.
He is. So some of the finer details of his game are not that polished. The shooting, I would say that overall team play is not that polished. He's still learning the game, but he is a freak of an athlete and a competitor.
If you polled the 30 GMs, Tatum or Anthony Edwards, who would win?
I think probably Tatum because of his size, but my counter to that would be, well, what's good is the size if you play so small so many times, and I've come up small in some of the biggest moments. But
but what's Anthony Edwards? Has Anthony Edwards ever got a conference final?
No. But this team just won their first playoff round in 20 years.
Okay, so I was
going to say
he's never even won a round until this year.
Correct.
Which it feels like, again, the whole setup here is that Minnesota walked into Denver, won twice, including last night.
They hillbilly wiped them last night.
Without Gobert, and Denver with, proverbially speaking, their backs to the wall. That's an eye-opener. Mm-hmm. And now if Murray, for throwing the heating pad onto the floor, gets suspended for Game 3 in Minnesota. So
Mike, in all probability, they're done.
You want to do a poll, Jimmy?
You don't lose in the NBA. You do not lose games 1 and 2 at home in a 7-game series and win the series. It does not happen.
How should we phrase the poll? Would you rather be the Celtics behind Jayson Tatum or the Timberwolves behind Anthony Edwards?
Yeah, that's okay.
And we're asking Boston people. Mm-hmm. Okay, and a lot of these are going to be our people who are inherently negative and miserable.
Correct. The Felger and Mazz crowd.
We're not exactly asking
Put the ad, be honest, in
the
all
Dan
caps.
Roche crowd. But
you get Roche to tweet it.
Or who's the Barstool guy?
Greeny.
Stool Greeny. We're not exactly asking his crowd. But you know what I mean. Who'd you rather? So is that how we should phrase it? Who'd you rather be, the Celtics behind Tatum or the Wolves behind Edwards, or just simply who'd you rather have, Tatum or Edwards?
Ooh, do the first one. The first one's more complicated.
It adds a little layer.
Yeah,
to
it does. No, it's a more complex question.
You need to trick them.
Would you rather be the Celtics behind Jayson Tatum or the Timberwolves going forward? Would you rather be the Celtics behind Jayson Tatum or the Timberwolves behind Anthony Edwards? You want to say like over the next 5 years, something like that?
Sure, good one. 5 years.
Next 5 years.
The thing that you
who'd you rather be?
The thing you can't ignore is that it's his 4th year in the league.
And Tatum's is like 7th?
6th or 7th. I just think he's got
it's Tatum's 7th.
He's got that alpha quality that we want Tatum to have. Now, again, I'll tell you this. As much as I love Edwards, if they play the Celtics should win that series.
Okay. I was just going to say, well, the Wolves, they're one of the few teams that probably can match up with Jokic because they got the two bigs and
Correct.
They got Gobert who can just do the defensive thing and they're not losing anything offensive. You know what I mean? Like,
they held him to 80 points last
Yeah, they have a smothering defensive system.
And last night Gobert wasn't even there. But be that as it may, Minnesota might be one of the few teams that can match up with Jokic. And against you, it's a different matchup. Okay, so we have that question. Would you rather be the Celtics behind Tatum or the Wolves behind Anthony Edwards?
Over the next 5 years.
And, in caps, be honest.
Yeah, you got to be honest.
And then the second question.
Because that'll swing the poll.
Yeah, no, that'll get them, guys. The second point is, oh, my God. So you're saying to me now, you can go all the way through the NBA Finals without having to face Jimmy Butler, Giannis, Randall, I just throw him in there, Durant, Steph Curry, LeBron, Jokic. Like, who am I leaving out?
No, you pretty much got them all.
I mean, Halliburton is a tremendous young player.
No, not on the same level.
Oh, Halliburton's all NBA.
He's great.
Yeah, but he's not like those guys.
And Anthony Edwards is, working his way into this conversation with these elite guys. But when you map out a path and you talk about who you could be playing, it's like you're going to end up playing none of them. You better win.
You can't lose to a guy who's in his 4th season. Can't do it.
This is your time. It's not Minnesota's time. If they jump you, that's scary. Long story short, losing to Minnesota, much worse than losing to Denver.
Definitely.
Or the Warriors for sure. Or maybe even Miami in some respect. I don't know. Losing to Minnesota would be bad. That would mean like you got jumped. And maybe...
Yeah, your window's closed. You had your chance. You blew it.
Well, maybe it's not just not your time.
Maybe it'll never be your time.
Maybe you just don't have the team.
Correct. That's the part that worries me. It's the first thing that popped into my head. Uh-oh. How does that not pop into your head? If you're being honest, it pops into your head. Here he comes. What if this kid can win at this age?
Could you have a more ominous sounding Celtics segment than we just generated? It was elite.
Jimmy could find a way.
Oh, I don't think there's any question we got more in us.
They're like odds-on favorite. Like it is that like the path is clear. They are the odds-on favorite. This is their season. This is it. And we just had them losing to Minnesota in the final.
Yeah.
And
In 5.
And never ever winning again.
Further proof that our ceiling is higher than theirs.
That's some real sorcery. There's some guy in his car right now. They're making the Minnesota thing about the Celtics. These losers.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
We did.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Celtics analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.